Tarumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
Konene, so last week kuna story ilitokea na story ilikuwa ni kuna vile Sakaja anaenda ku cede some functions from the county government to the national government, and then Sakaja akabaki amedina hiyo story. And then what happened yesterday, tukasikia all of a sudden that Sakaja alikuwa anaenda State House kusign deal katikati ya the national government and State House. So one of the first people to react ilikuwa of course ni Sifuna. Sifuna alibaki ameandika, the governor of Nairobi assured us he was not transferring any functions to the national government. I'm surprised to see a scheduled signing ceremony at State House this afternoon as we await to see the actual thing. I remind Sakaja Johnson to be mindful of the provisions of the Constitution and the need for involvement of the electorate and the leadership of Nairobi prior to making such decisions. Then akaendelea, any unconstitutional clawback to devolution shall be strenuously resisted, and then a comprehensive statement shall follow. So that was him. But now, let's tumecheck a few things. Before even we check a few things, does Nairobi need help? Like, even before we go into the nitty-gritties of the legalities and if Sakaja needs help and what, is Nairobi working? Najua, because Sakaja alituambia lazima iwork, and vile tu alituambia lazima iwork, jana kulikuwa na mvua, and I actually don't know if this video is from yesterday, but I remember like one of the things that najuaga ni Nairobi kukinyesha kuna kuwaga na floods, and floods, of course there is no way to get rid of floods 100%, but there are ways to make them less dangerous. Floods tunaweza get rid of 100%, of course ni kwa expressway huko juu. Yes, there is a way we can still get rid of that, but kwa ground, nature does not care what you came up with. What you can do is come up with ways to make it less dangerous, and also come up with ways whereby when there are floods, mvua ikisha stop, trucks can come, suck some of that water up, and that water can be recycled baadaye. That's what like major cities do. To think of coming up with a plan like Tokyo did, that one would require billions that I don't think we have, and also engineers who, sorry to say, we don't have. Is a joke on my engineers wa Kenya, but so far nimekuwa nikiona tukipatia China hizi stories zote, alafu when mkipatiwa time ya maintain roads, I don't see the roads getting maintained. But that's a story for another day. So jana kuna video nilibaki nimecheki, and this video was disturbing, man, because I don't think this rained long enough for this to happen. Kuna ndai ilibidi msee apuliwe down out. I don't know if this happened yesterday, but I'm sure it happened in Nairobi.
Watatoka.
Guy, why God wametoka guy.
Unaona maji ilikuwa inapungua. Ile maji ilikuwa juu. Sasa ile maji ilikuwa iko na nguvu, iko na pressure inaenda chini sana. Sasa inaendelea kupungua. Tunaona hapa inaendelea kwenda chini.
So kuna hizi floods jo zinashtua. Oh shit, I try to imagine kudedi kwa flood Nairobi. Especially ukiwa kwa ndai, like it's just sad, man. Like you just try and think about it, but yeah, so does Nairobi need help? Yes, Nairobi needs help. Does Sakaja know what he's doing? I don't think he knows what he's doing. So maybe he needed this. And what ended up happening is alienda State House. Na vilalishia State House, of course. Now, what happened? Like wakabaki may have this whole speech back and forth where they had to, of course, talk about the legality of whatever is happening. But tukianza na Sakaja, there was a point that I found to be a little bit cringy, and the reason why I found that to be a little bit cringy is I'm just not the guy who feels like tunanid kuwa proud of using this whole Singapore thing. I find it to be like, why are you comparing ourselves to Singapore? We can just make Nairobi great without trying to be Singapore, because Singapore has its own problems and own what. and Singapore I think is like maybe is the Asian countries zinakuaga like 500 years ahead of sisi, so to even try and go there we should even think of Europe before to think of akina Singapore. But wacha tusikize Sakaja.
Next year, Nairobi will be hosting the Africa Cup of Nations, a historic opportunity. This agreement will help us to be able to provide additional infrastructure necessary for a successful tournament. We're on the journey to Singapore, and Nairobi will not be left behind. This is the capital of Singapore.
What the hell, man? Don't fucking say that, and don't smile about it. Like when people watch this footage outside Kenya, how feel aje? Kuna vitu zingine zinakuwaga za aibu, and the president, oh, you're trying to be Singapore. Shit, don't. Just make Nairobi be Nairobi, and make Nairobi be a city we can be proud of. And the president was there like, if we have ideas, let's talk about them. I have a million ideas. We don't need to do a lot of this crap that we do. I saw a lot of ideas that I support, but still I didn't see the main things that we need to be changing. But wacha tuendelee kidogo.
Excellency. The capital city will remain at the center of the transformation to first world status. This agreement provides for a two-tier governance structure for its successful implementation. The steering committee, which will be chaired by the Prime Cabinet Secretary as the coordinator of national government ministries and agencies, deputized by myself and comprising of cabinet secretaries as well as county staff, will set the overall policy goals and direction.
So hii kitu of course kisainiwa, it is end up kisainiwa. I was expecting it's the president, but I actually saw it's the prime cabinet secretary, which of course, if you're wondering, it's a job that's not supposed to be there, and that's that third world shit. Because every time I think we talk about Kenya being a first world and what, we forget that integrity is the key thing, and apart from integrity, it's respect for taxpayers' money, and that's something that we don't have. Because Nini, of course, hapa Kenya we use taxpayers' money to literally kupanguza kundu. And what do I mean by that? Just like yesterday, I'll come back to his story, but jana kulikuwa na the news that State House ilikuwa inatumia, was it around 47 million shillings? Was it a day? Like some ridiculous amount of money per day. And then kuna mse alikuwa ameenda nini, alikuwa ameenda Citizen, and like at some point he ended up talking about this. I don't know how I missed this, but this happened a while ago at Citizen. Mse alikuwa anabonga juu ya State House and how much money is used at State House. This is taxpayers' money that can be used to build hospitals, build roads, unajua, do all these things, fight floods, but this is how we use it.
Yeah. Close the show. Yeah. You've just told me that people, when you see political leaders going to State House, they go there for finances and they get something. You used to frequent State House when you were in agreement with the Kenya Council administration.
How do you say I used to frequent State House?
You used to. Because when you're called to meetings, you went.
Yeah. Every meeting you go to State House, you are paid.
So you paid?
Yeah, I was paid also. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much?
When you go for a PG, you get 100,000 shillings.
100,000 shillings.
Yes.
Every PG.
Every PG.
Why? Why are you facilitated to go for a meeting?
I wonder. And that is why I said this shenanigan I must...
And you took the money, didn't you?
Well, when I went there the first time, I did take the money. But of course, sooner than later, I stopped going there. Yeah.
Agushi and Koimburi are cut from the same cloth.
Okay.
Nasikia hiyo. Asa alikuwa analipo 100,000 shillings for every meeting that they go. And then when you hear that State House has spent that amount of money, and then you hear all these first world dreams, because these people make it look like they make it look like becoming a first world country is just about development. It's not about development. It's also about integrity, and it's about respect for taxpayers' money, and it's about respecting service and knowing that I'm a servant of the people. All this Your Excellency bullshit means nothing. All this honorable bullshit, you're not honorable. You're there spending taxpayers' money in ways that makes no sense. Like kumbuka nikiona hiyo story ya State House, and I'm there thinking like, how in a third world country can you be spending around, is it 47 million per day? Like, how does that make sense? But somehow, so ilikuwa hivi. I think ilikuwa kwa Money Academy, alikuwa meka State House spent 1.3 billion in January, averaging 43 million a day. It has now overspent its budget by 2.7 billion in just 7 months of the 2025-2026 financial year. So anyone who's telling you anything about a first world country is full of shit. In first world countries, if I may use ule naitwa nani? Umadha naitwa Michelle Obama. When she was talking about it, she was saying like in a country like the US, she had to buy her own like even things. Like apart from the meals that are covered, she has to buy her own meals. Hizo zingine hazikuji free hivyo. Sisi on the other side, everything is free. Just go there. Sisi tulienda hapo kama journalist and we ended up still being given free breakfast. And I'm there like, why? Why are you giving us breakfast? I didn't come here for freaking breakfast. This is taxpayers' money. And you might be there wondering, Mwafrika ulikunywa chai? Sasa, it was for research purposes. But it's still not up to me. The tea should not be there. Just simple. But tukitoka hapo, watch still to go back to stories, the deal that was being signed. So one of the cities that came up, and I've talked about this city, is Addis Ababa. And damn, Addis Ababa, niliona from Wodemaya, and I have to say, I really liked what I see. I liked what I saw, that is. And Addis Ababa right now is on my wish list. It's one of the countries that I'd like to visit, just because of the fact that I'm there like, damn, it can be done. It's being done by neighbors just next door. Even like Tanzania has a BRT system. Yes, they burnt it during the protests, but it's there. So wacha tucheki kile umsali bonga juu ya ilikuwa ni nani Mudavadi alikuwa anasema juu ya Addis Ababa.
For those of you who have been to Addis Ababa lately, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. If you have been to Uganda and you look at what is happening even at the airport,
you just jaenda that plan kuenda, but hakuna kitu naweza niambia juu UG kwende. Nikishaona videos zinanionyesha UG is doing anything. I still see wasa UG wakikam Kenya wana cheesy. Wanafikiria kuna zuri nasonga tumefika New York. Okay, akwage New York. Okay, tumefika unique TZ. This is some bullshit. Of course, Kenya na Nairobi na NY haziko anywhere close to each other. But the fact that Raya UG nafikiria tuko hivyo naonyesha UG kwende. Addis Ababa on the other side, like, damn, what? I saw that Wodemaya, damn. Hiyo video Wodemaya ilinishtua jo. Like, I was like, damn, Addis Ababa looks beautiful. And it's orderly, no freaking borders, pathways are pedestrians, the cyclists ni cyclists, na barabara ni barabara, and everyone follows the freaking traffic rules. There's no all this thing of what, the enemy is poverty, so ifala inakuja na nduthi, waseme keep left, iraena keep right, inagonga watu. Kuna video ingine pia iko na go round ya hiyo, like kuna msee aligongwa number 3. And I keep digressing because this is all I know about Nairobi. Najua where like people will talk about how Nairobi needs to do this, Nairobi needs to do that. And to me, the biggest problem in Nairobi is order. Just order. Like Nairobi is so chaotic. And because of the chaos, Nairobi is so dangerous that mtu shindagwa like, what's going to happen next? Na sasa kulikuwa na hii video, ilikuwa na go round, and the video was ama 3. Ina overtake. Yani hii video ni mbaya mpaka inabidi tuweke in black and white. So cheki kimathri kinaingia, alafu utacheki kuna boy fulani anakuja from somewhere, na hii mathri na mgonganisha kwa gari. Cheki. Alafu mathri inaendelea. Alafu ndo namcheki ana limp. Cheki jo. Aliumia kabisa. And do you think anything is going to happen? No, nothing is going to happen. And yes, so sort of like, no, we don't need to bring order to the matatu industry. We don't, the matatu industry employs blah, blah, blah. It can still employ that amount of people and still be orderly. Just because it's employing does not mean that it has to be disorderly. And I think that's the problem we have. So order is very important. And that's one thing that we don't have. So, wacha tuendele na ubuda. But vila nisema juu Addis Ababa, of course, hiyo nonsense hawezi pata huko.
you will see that changes are taking place. Go to Luanda in Angola. Go to Zambia, Lusaka. We must break away from the comfort zone. And if we have to retain the hub status that we have always held, then the leadership that we are seeing today is absolutely important.
So one of the things also wana thump chest zao, they were thumping their chest that they are going to make unpopular decisions. And I remember just this week kulikuwa na hii headline ilicheki, ilikuwa kwa kenyans.co.ke, ilikuwa ni Nairobi needs a mass rapid transport system. Alafu ilikuwa Sakaja had said this, and akasema in most cities you'll find a billionaire with no car simply because they have efficient public transport. This is what Nairobi needs. We just need the resources. So he said this, and I expected that if he's meeting the president, they're somehow going to talk about this. Of course, they didn't talk about this because I don't think they understand how to run a city. And the president will be like, we have no ideas. But I'm sorry, Mr. Sugoi, but I feel like you have no ideas. When you go to these cities, you're busy going to Stefano Ricci stores. You don't sit down to see. It's the basic things. It's the garbage collection. That comes with a lot of jobs. It's the people who maintain the city. That comes with a lot of jobs. It's the people who clean the city. That's a lot of jobs. It's not just about cleaning Nairobi River. Nairobi is dirty, like freaking dirty. Barabara inakuwaga brown. Like majuzi niko napatia na story na kauja watch episode, go and watch it. It's a really funny episode. We had fun with it. Your episode will drop jana, ilikuwa mimi Robo, DJ Zack na Ian. Niko na bonga jia stories za Ngodha, Kempinski. Najanga mimi na stories za Ngodha. So kitoka Kempinski, the first thing that hits you ni there's just matope to like yani amount of soil. And that mound of soil, that's what ends up on the road, and the road ends up brown. And you're there wondering, why can't we either plant something? And if you can't plant something, let's just tarmac the whole thing. Let's just have it as a concrete jungle. Why? Because it stays clean. So you have this where Nairobi is super dirty and no one has an idea of how to nini. Konene, najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile ile lemfi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia lemfi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more, utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap chap, ingia lemfi. Lemfi, international payments for everyone. But one of the things at least they spoke about ile Ruto libonga juu yake was security. So he talked about a lot of stuff, but let's start with the security part. Majuzi kulikuwa na AFCON. Na vile AFCON ilikuwa ina happen, one of the places ilikuwa ina happen in Morocco, yes. And of course the guy who captured it and made a lot of us know about that ilikuwa ni Silva Kido. And one thing that I saw there was security, like people are feeling safe. What's going to happen next year? I don't know. But something needs to be done. Because Talanta Stadium pale iko right next to Zileni ASK grounds. And I know concerts that happen there. Kwa mesikiza iko nini long enough, shesikiaga tukipatia na story ya vile tulishiaga reggae fulani, ilikuwa mimi, kuna msanii wa X Domain, kulikuwa na Ian, and we remember like tukiingia hiyo place there was so much insecurity. Acheki. And that was your ASK ground. So for you to I'm sure there's going to be a lot of insecurity around Nini AFCON. And also wataibiwa. Na watu wataibiwa so that a few fools benefit. No, we have to bring staff. Security lazima bring it to the level that it needs to be brought. And we need to stop this nonsense where tunakaga chini ati Buda jo tukai chini tuambie mavijana acheni crime ni mbaya. Kila mtu anajua crime ni mbaya. The fact that you need to be told hiyo ni yako. The fact that you are struggling, that's why imepeleka kwa crime. Newsflash, you live in a third world country. Like literally everyone is struggling. And many of them have decided not to steal. Kenya kila mtu angekuwa mwizi, ile mwizi tu wa kunyongana. Of course Kenya sisi ni wezi, but si wezi wa kunyongana. But ingekuwa wezi, ingekuwa like Kenya ingekuwa chaotic kabisa. If everyone who was struggling angekuwa naiba, ingekuwa ni shida kabisa. But yeah, so alibonga juu ya polisi, acha tusikia.
In solid waste management, the county has already allocated 100 acres for material recovery facilities and transfer stations, committing 4 billion shillings, we agreed Sakaja, while the national government will provide 2 billion shillings every year within the existing framework to advance circular waste systems.
So of course these stories about circular waste system, you're hearing the billions that are being mentioned. What does this mean? Let me predict. Kenya is just about to get some few billionaires and millionaires. Okay, let's say millionaires. Yeah, we're just about to make some few millionaires. Why? Because I'm sure these budgets are inflated, and apart from inflated, I'm sure not everything that's supposed to be done will be done. And who should be blamed? The president for having the vision, or Sakaja for not implementing? Of course, the fish rots from the head. We blame the president. If the president was to be strict with corruption, Vile Magufuli was strict with corruption, I know it would be ironic and people would be like, oh shit, it's him, the corrupt guy. But you know what they say? Set a thief to catch a thief. Set the corrupt to catch the corrupt.
Ladies and gentlemen, security is non-negotiable, especially for a modern capital city like Nairobi. I therefore direct the Cabinet Secretary for Interior to prepare and present within 60 days a framework for a dedicated Nairobi Metropolitan Police Unit.
History nikisikiaga ya police unit and nikisikia juu ya security, what I remember is there was an experiment that was once done ya ilikuwa ni monkeys and bananas, where kulikuwa na bananas ziko hang pali fulani, and then wakaeka like 8 monkeys, and then when they put the 8 monkeys, what would happen is when one monkey tried to reach for a banana, they'd spray all the 8 monkeys with water. So what happened at some point, even when a banana was put, the 8 monkeys would do nothing. Then what happened? A new monkey was brought in, then one of the 8 monkeys akatolewa ikakuwa replaced by a new one, and this new monkey did what? Tried to go for the banana, then hizi zingine zika sprayiwa na maji. So vile zilisprayiwa kama zote zikiwa 8 zikajam. Hii monkey mpya tena ikajaribu, vile ili try zikaanza kuitandika. So now what ended up happening is aziko zinangoja kusprayiwa, ziko zinatandika hii moja. Then what happened? Another monkey was released, and then a new one ika replace. So kumbuka kuna the 6 original monkeys, there's one monkey, and then there is a new monkey. This new monkey ilienda kuchukua banana ikaanza kuchapwa na hizi zingine. Alafu so every time ina try inachapwa, so ikaacha kutry. They brought in a new monkey. So now we have 5 original ones and 5 original one and 2 new ones stroke the third which is super new. The third which is super new kienda inachapwa. By the time they were finishing all the 8 monkeys, it had reached a level where all the 8 new monkeys were there, and they didn't even know why they were beating each other for not taking, for trying to take the banana. What am I trying to say with this? Security can be done that way. Nairobi inakuwaga very unsafe. You can't walk around with your phone without worrying that someone is going to snatch it. Na inakuwaga mostly waswa boda wana do that nonsense. Najua they are the first culprits then before we come to hizi raya za kawaida. And with that in mind, if an operation was done where a lot of these people were arrested, it would reach a level where people are so afraid that even without any police officer in the middle of town, no one would be snatching anything. Why? Because they'd assume there's a police officer watching. And such a thing is so simple. All you need to do ni kuhave makarao mejificha one left, right and center. Falan try kuhepa, anashikwa hapa. Falan try kuhepa, anashikwa hapa. Alafu pia every time we go through a campaign of we are watching everything that we are doing. We are watching what? A few CCTV footages zinakuwa shared na this like national television stations. Zinaonyesha huyu mwizi alitoka hapa, kahepa hivi, before you know it, even without any police, no one would steal anything. And we can be able to handle this insecurity problem. But as long as it's left the way it's left, najua, even boda people do it and nothing happens, we end up with this nonsense.
To work hand in hand with the Nairobi County Security.
So hapo anamaanisha makarao hiyo the Nairobi Metropolitan Police watakuwa kiwork hand in hand with the Kanjo. It looks very good on paper, but it looks also more like a corruption opportunity. But hopefully, najua I always say that we hope for the best. Najua maybe, just maybe, because kila kitu kina mwisho, maybe, just maybe, they can work for the city and they can make the city safer.
We will make, and we must make Nairobi safe for citizens, visitors, investors, and business alike. Our cooperation with the Nairobi City County government, ladies and gentlemen, is not beginning today. This partnership is already visible in the Nairobi Rivers Regeneration Program, a 50 billion shilling initiative transforming riverine settlements through housing, sanitation, public spaces, and environmental restoration, and employing over 45,000 young people in the city of Nairobi.
Okay, hiyo story ya Nairobi River, I always say that I'll follow up on it and try and see like what's actually happening, but I'll be honest to say sijaienda kwa ground kuicheki. So kuna hiyo, but apart from that, another thing that the president talked about was modernizing the city. And when he talked about modernizing the city, the first thing that comes to mind kwangu, as I keep saying, is the transport system. We need a BRT system. We need a mass transit system for a lot of Nairobians. Why? Because matatus, umecheki nimetoka kuonyesha matatu hapo ikigonga mtu. That chaos can't. I saw that chaos when I was a child. Like I saw that's chaos that was started by generation ya kina Buddha. We still have it when their great grandkids are like, that's just wrong. And the chaos is still there. Nairobi still, so you expect them to talk about that, but what did they talk about? Wacha tusikize.
We must modernize this city. We are doing a world-class Talanta Stadium. We are doing a world-class conference facility in Bomas.
Hii conference facility ya Bomas ko nakumbuka, kumeuchiko nini long enough nakumbuka. The story was the guy who was contracted to do that is Ruto's friend. He's some Turkish guy. He's doing it. So yes, and that's the problem I normally have with Kenyan projects. It's there's always benefiting. How wenyewe lazima wa benefit. So yes, the story is the guy ulana modernize here Bomas ni best ya Ruto, and that means Ruto is also making the money from it. It's just that pathetic shit that happens, and it is what it is.
Shortly, we will start the construction with the private sector, by the way, of a modern arena right here in Nairobi. And as I promised the country, we will roll out in a couple of months the construction of a new airport in Nairobi.
So kumbuka airport kulikuwa na kunafaa kuwa na stories za Adani, and Adani was indicted. Tuka protest. Of course, eventually they pulled the Adani deal, but remember that time they were a little bit afraid of Gen Zs. Things calmed down kabisa. So I'd want to know, this also is in conjunction with the private sector, but what private sector are we talking about? So don't be surprised, it's the same thievery that's going to happen. I'm of course on record always saying we need to modernize JKIA. It looks like a piece of shit. Ukitoka hiyo njia JKIA, it's not smooth. That's your introduction to Nairobi. Your introduction to Nairobi ni gari ina twerk, haifai kuwa hivyo. So I know we need to do that. But right now, if you have to ask me, if you are modernizing the city, ile kitu Sakaja alikuwa amebonga ya mass transit, that's what we needed. We needed a BRT system. And I think walisema they'll do a BRT system to JKIA, but I want a BRT system everywhere. That's the first thing. Will this be unpopular? Yes, because it's going to start eating from the matatu industry. Before you know it, it's going to eat from the boda industry. But that's what we need. And a mass transit system is going to also make our roads better. Why? Because if people are using less bodas to move from point A to point B, that makes it safer. If you are using less matatus, point A to point B makes it better. And also pia, if they can be timed, ile tunajoga kuna gari ya 7 wherever, alafu your route ya BRT na kwa strictly hizo BRT, as tumiki na ma 3, haitumiki na any nonsense. inaweza kuwa poa sana, but tuendelee.
Ladies and gentlemen, we must raise our ambition. We cannot continue to make peace with mediocrity. It is not right. It is unacceptable.
The funny thing is, I listened to this speech and I still felt like we are still embracing mediocrity. I don't feel like tuna go all out, because for Nairobi to be what we want it to be, we have to make a lot of unpopular decisions. And one of the unpopular decisions najulikanaga mubongaga juu yake ni we need a BRT system. This is going to eat into the matatu industry. This is going to be very unpopular, but it is necessary. Why? Because matatus cannot be left to act the way they act. And bodabodas cannot be left to act the way they act. History ya magari kuchomwa, that's security. Na chiki, let's say an African decides kutoka country ingine, alafu najua Kenya tuna keep left, so akuja anze ku keep left, and then there's a bodaboda on his way, abaki amemgonga, alafu gari yake ichomwe ikiwa Nairobi. We need to act on that. Na chiki, so Nairobi needs to be made safer, and this is going to involve a lot of unpopular decisions. Mtu alichoma gari, yes, besti yake aliumia, but besti yake alikuwa on the wrong side of the road, so chukua rusha yeye jela, wacha amon besti yake akiwa jela. These are unpopular decisions, but that's what's needed. We need to reach a level where everyone follows the rules. Rules za hapa ni si keep left, haijalishi kwa uko na haraka, ungetoka jana. Hakuna stories za ku keep right, hakuna stories za ku eat into wase wanaogopa. Like it nonsense inakuwa so much that, but of course vile ulicheki nani Sifuna alikuwa amebonga juu the legality of the whole thing, so the president had to address that. Acha tusikize.
Today's cooperation agreement is designed to close the gap. It is actually designed to close that gap fully and within the confines of the law and the Constitution. Let me be clear on the legal foundation. Article 189(2) of our Constitution requires the two levels of government to cooperate, assist, and consult each other. The Intergovernmental Relations Act provides mechanisms for formal coordination agreements. The Urban Areas and Cities Act recognizes the special status of the capital city of Nairobi and provides the framework for joint cooperation.
So that was an address to Sifuna, because Sifuna was the one who was asking about the legality of the whole agreement. So tukimalizia story, of course, personally, I want the best for Nairobi, and if the best for Nairobi is going to take a situation whereby the national government and the county government work together, it does nothing to me. Unajua, like it does not affect me. Kuna so like, what about the constitution? I hate the fact that we always bring up the constitution and all this and encourage mediocrity, whereby we can see this governor can't actually run Nairobi. He's run out of ideas. We have the president also arrogantly asking us where are the ideas, and I'm there looking at Nairobi and all I see are jobs. All these things, I've never understood why I don't hear governors talking about creating jobs. Like, hasemu shindago, like hamjui, like tuangalie madhaka Kihika Kimani, ulisomaga states jo, umeona vile like those states they create jobs. Kuna kuagana jobs ziko tu Texas lakini haziko, and you can't come up with jobs, you can't create jobs. Like, you're the governor for Nairobi and you can't create jobs. You still have to make a governor for Nairobi. Given the same chance as Sakaja, Babu Owino would stand 0 chance, because I'd create so many jobs. By the time I come, Tibim, Tialala, what do I call, like, what the fuck is that? We're not Tibiming and Tialalaing here. We want, but when you have 0 ideas, do I think Babu can make a better governor than Sakaja? Yes. Do I think my grandma can make a better governor than Sakaja? Yes. And you know what? Not only is my grandma uneducated, she can still make a better governor than Sakaja, and she's dead. Iko nene.